So let's talk about how to make $10,000 a month working only 1 hour per day. What you're doing now is very, very, very time consuming. Things take a lot of time. For example, coming up with new ideas, like 2 hours per day at a minimum, creating social media content, like 1 to 2 hours per day, maybe even more depending on what you're doing. If you're doing YouTube, etc., creating Onlyfans content could be like 1 hour per day, like scripts and posts. Creating custom content is obviously subjective, but could be like 30 minutes to 1 hour or maybe more. And then editing, which is obviously very time consuming again, depending on the content that you're creating. And then posting, which is the easy part. Schedule your posts, 30 minutes to an hour. And then marketing, coming up with marketing strategies, keeping up to date with all of the marketing strategies because things do change every few weeks, every few months. You need to keep up to date with what works. And then obviously the chatting, some fucking explosion over there. And then obviously the chatting, which is the most tedious part, can be like at a minimum, it's like 18 hours per day you need to be there. So when you're not sleeping, you need to be chatting. This is the most tedious and annoying part. And if you are doing it yourself as a creator, when you're asleep, you're not making money. When you're like out, or if you have another job and you're working, you're not making money because obviously you're not going to be chatting while you're at work. If you go to the gym, you're not making money. If you go see your friends, you're not making money. So if you don't have people doing the chatting for you, even just that, you either don't have a life or you're not gonna be able to make a significant amount of income from OnlyFans. Without chatting, you could be looking at upwards of 12 hours per day. So just for the other stuff, like at a minimum, you're gonna be looking at like 12 hours per day. This is why most creators get burnt out. They either give up, they claim that their content isn't good, they try shortcuts with like weird little dodgy agencies or black hat methods. They lose money, they lose time, and they lose hope and lose life in general, right? All of this stuff happens because you're trying to juggle all of these things, and when you're doing all of this and not seeing any growth, it's the worst thing ever, right? It's like when there's no proof of or reward when there's no proof or rewards of your efforts in the beginning, it's super hard to stay consistent at doing this. Fair enough, if you're making 10K a month and you're doing all of this yourself, you're making money, right? But you don't have no free time, which is also very important aside making the money. So don't work hard, don't work smart, work right. Everybody's heard the saying before, right? Don't work hard, work smart. But it's not like that anymore. The people working hard are the construction workers. They're not making as much money as they should be making, right? They'll make anything in today's world. And don't work smart. The doctors are working smart. They make a lot of money, but they still don't have a lot of time, and their job is hard and stressful, right? Time is your most valuable commodity. Wasting it or spending it incorrectly can jeopardize your entire potential. Working hard in the wrong direction can kill your growth. So spending all of this time working on things that you're not sure if it's the right thing to do, it's gonna waste your time. And if you grow in the wrong direction, you have to come back before you can go in the right direction, which is again very time consuming and it wastes more time and energy. Working smart, it may save you a little bit of time and money, but it's still gonna consume your energy. Working right is what will make you money, save you more time, and make you happier overall, stress free. So, is it possible to work only 1 hour per day yet make $10,000 per month? Of course it is. I should be like this. Of course it is. Oh no. We do this with one simple word, the magic word: delegation. Delegation, right? Working right equals delegating your work. You want to remove yourself from the tasks that don't actually require you. So you're not required to come up with new ideas. You can save 2+ hours per day. You don't need to be the editor. That can save you 1 to 2 hours per day again. You don't need to be the poster. That can save you 30 minutes to 1 hour or more. You don't need to do the marketing. That can save you 3 to 4 plus hours every single day coming up with new marketing strategies. Him, even like coming up with new ideas. You can come up with great ideas one day, and then the next day you're stuck. The next day you're stuck, and then there's this inconsistency of ideas, and it's probably killing your reach. And then obviously the chatting, like I mentioned before, you need 24/7 chatting. You need someone there always looking at the chats, always available. If you're out, if you're at the gym, asleep, at work, you're not making money through this because you're not at the computer. You need somebody to do the chatting for you. And then obviously, ideally, a team. Delegating all of this can save literally 20 to 24 hours per day. Delegating the boring, tedious work to somebody else who's actually good at doing it. So, this work needs to be done one way or another. If you do it yourself, you'll eventually begin to hate it and begin to do a lousy job at it. If you're doing all of this stuff for like every day for weeks and months, you're going to begin to hate it. You're going to begin to despise what you're doing, especially the chatting. At least that's how it was for me personally. You're going to do a bad job at all of this stuff because day in, day out, you've been doing it all yourself, and eventually you're just going to get drained and burnt out. And that's just because you're human, right? You can't keep up with all of this stuff unless you're like some autistic Elon Musk who every single day he's like boom 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 doing everything he can. You're never gonna be able to keep up with doing all this stuff yourself and then doing it at the highest quality possible. So if you do it yourself, you'll eventually begin to hate it and begin to do a lousy job at it. What you need is a virtual assistant who can do editing and posting. You need a creative director to come up with all of the ideas. And then you need a marketing team to obviously do the marketing. And a 24/7 chat team of like 3 to 4 people to handle all of the chatting and sales. But what about the other tasks that I mentioned at the very beginning? Yes, there are other tasks that do require you to be present, like creating social media content, which is like 1 to 2 hours per day, creating Onlyfans content, which is 1 hour per day, creating custom content, which is like 30 minutes to 1 hour per day, but it's subjective. You could have like 3 hours worth of customs that you need to do. It's all just subjective. So that's 2 to 3 hours per day. But I thought you said I would only have to work 1 hour per day. Sad face. We shorten these tasks with systems. For example, the creative director sends you the ideas, and all you have to do is replicate them. It's super simple. Imagine you're doing 21 reels per week, three reels a day. The creative director sends you all of the ideas that you need to do. You just have to replicate them. You do 4 reels in one outfit, 4 reels in one outfit, 4 reels in another outfit, and you just boom, boom, boom. You just get them out like that, and it's super simple if you're just copying and you know exactly what to do. You haven't spent time coming up with the angles yourself. You know the angles. You know the sound to use. You know the caption. You know all of this stuff, right? You could make a week's worth of social media posts in one single hour. You could do 21 posts in 1 hour. It's super simple. When we were in Miami working with other teams, we were making like 40 to 50 pieces of content in 1 hour. And it's just, you can, I've seen it happen. So you can get a week's worth of content or 2 weeks in 1 to 2 hours. It's super simple. Think about only making reels for 1 hour every single Monday, for example. It's possible and people do it in shorter time frames. It's the exact same for OnlyFans content too. And again, customs are obviously subjective. Caramel macchiato. So, example of a weekly timetable. Monday, you create your 21 reels, like I just mentioned, copy in the creative director's inspiration. This can take 1 hour, then you have your reels done for the entire week. On Tuesday, you create all your script content. For example, you'll do 1 to 2 scripts per week. Your drip sets, you could call them. Then on Wednesday, you create the feed posts and then the social media story posts for like Instagram. That could take 1 hour or less. And then Thursday, you handle the customs, which obviously it's subjective. I don't know how many customs you're gonna get. If you have 10 hours worth of customs, then good. because that's probably you're making a lot of money. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do whatever you want, right? You could be working just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and obviously you could do all of this on one day if you really wanted to. On Monday, you could do all of the script content for the week, all of the reels, all of the feed posts and social media posts, and then all you have to do for the week is customs, because obviously if a guy asks for a custom on Wednesday, ideally you want to have it to the guy by Friday so that you can, like, you want a 48-hour turnaround at minimum. But yeah, you could do everything else just on Monday and then have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do whatever you want. But let's say you're working 7 hours per week. You could literally work 4 to 7 hours per week and make $10,000 per month. Let's say you work 7 hours per week, which, let's just keep it simple, 28 hours per month for a 4 week month. $10,000 divided by 28 hours, $357 an hour. At what job will you make $357 an hour at home, living your best life? Probably not many. Now, obviously, this video is just about the bare minimum. This video is just to prove that it is possible to work that little and make that much. Some of our creators do that and are fine with it. But there is the flip side of this. The creators that are ready to go beyond that, beyond working just 1 hour per day, but still having everything delegated. So this could be your newfound power. Let's look at the creator who still delegates, but at the same time wants to work their hardest, focusing on making great influential content. Chatting equals delegated, posting and editing delegated, marketing delegated, and then creative side locked in. All you do as the creator, having everything delegated over here, you just work with the creative director and make sick content. That's all you do, literally. Above and beyond, the creators who go above and beyond that 10K mark are the ones who have all the freedom to focus on one specific part of the business, usually the creative side, like I just mentioned. Everything else is delegated, and you have all the time in the world to make great, amazing content. The creative director still helps, of course, because that's where you want to be, ideally, right? Everything else, like the back end of the business, the market, or the chatting, the marketing, all of that tedious stuff, you want all of that delegated, and then all you're focused on is building your brand with the creative director, right? Because outside of just OnlyFans, building out your Instagram is super good, because eventually you could, like, look at Camilla, for example, right? She's getting invited to all of these, like the Met Gala or wherever it was. She's going on podcasts. She's building like influencer status, and one day she might stop doing OnlyFans, and then she still has her like influencer status, millions of followers, right? She's still known in the world. She can do whatever she wants to do now, because again, like she's built a brand of her face, right? A personal brand. So she can do whatever she wants to do now. She can make money through lots of different avenues, because she's had all of that time to focus just on like the creative side. So everything else is delegated, and you have all the time in the world to make great, amazing content. The creative director still helps, of course. This is the epitome of working right. So it still saves time. You could work a few hours per day doing something enjoyable and beneficial to your own life and future, whilst the boring stuff is being done for you. You focus on building your brand as an influencer, and the rest of the work is delegated. It's a win-win. So, the right people. This is why working with the right people is so important. Many creators get burnt working with agencies who have no idea what they're doing. So we live in a money making world, right? Everybody's trying to make money through every avenue, any chance that they can get, especially now, because we need money more than ever. Some people come into this business and they have no idea what they're doing, right? They just see it as a shiny object. They think, oh, I can go manage creators and make a lot of money. They come into the business trying to just make as much money as they can. They don't care about the creators. They don't even care about their own business, creating their own brand, their own trustworthy brand. They don't care about that. And they either make a bit of money for a short amount of time and then burn some creators, or they don't make any money at all and they still burn creators, right? There's a lot of people in this industry that don't have a clue what they're doing. And that's why there's such a distrust between like agencies and creators because of these types of people, right? There's lots of scammy individuals that don't have a clue what they're doing. They have no experience. They're just trying to jump on the trend of, yeah, I can do this. I can make money from this. And again, it's just the whole money making on or the online money making circle situation. Everybody's just trying to make money online, and no one's really trying to build a trustworthy brand or business, or even trying to help people. Like we want to genuinely help people and change people's lives. That's the main goal here. So many creators get burnt working with agencies who have no idea what they're doing. They don't have no good creative director, no solid sales team, and no unique marketing strategies. They're just copying the last guy, right? Everyone's just doing the exact same thing. It's so easy to see. This is a great way to gain distrust and also a great way to fall back into the cycle of self doubt and becoming genuinely upset with your circumstances. So, like I say, for example, you personally, you might have dealt with like shady agencies, and I guarantee if you are that person, you don't trust agencies now. Maybe you still watch the videos, you still have interest in like working with somebody, delegating all of your work, but somebody has broke your trust so much that you're scared to take that step again. And I don't blame you because, like I said, there's a lot of people like that out there. Not everybody is an idiot though. Finding the right team to help you, whether it is through hiring the right people for each role. For example, you personally could hire your sales team, your chatters. I have a video on how to do that. You could hire a marketing team, you could hire a VA for the editing and the posting, and you could hire your own creative director, right? Or you can partner with a team that covers all areas of your much needed delegated work already. So you can partner with a team that already has a team of people that do all of the stuff that I just mentioned. It can be the difference between working 10 plus hours per day, making little to no money, and that's a minimum, right? 10 hours a day. If you're doing all the chatting, you need to be there all day, versus working 10 hours per week and making upwards of $10,000 every single month. It's a must if you want to grow your business. So, trying to do it alone, doing it alone is stubborn and very irresponsible. Trust me, I've been there. Take myself, for example. When I first started helping creators, I was doing everything alone. I was doing the marketing, I was doing the chatting and sales, I was doing the editing, posting, creative directing. So I'd just be there. If I wasn't sleeping, I'd be at the laptop chatting, right? And then I'd be chatting here, over here, I'd be doing like the editing and posting and stuff, scheduling, and then I'm doing the marketing, and then I'm working with the creators at the same time on my phone, like going through the creative stuff, getting ideas, and then I was just doing everything, and it was sending me literally nuts. Instead of building a solid team of killers, which I have now, I was just doing everything myself, all of the stuff. It was saving me money not having any employees, but it was just killing me mentally. And then again, like I mentioned before, I was doing this for months. So, like I mentioned before, when you're doing something every single day, the tedious stuff, it's so hard to stay consistent with like the highest quality of doing so many things a day. Like it's impossible. I mentioned you're human. It's impossible to wake up every day and be your best at marketing, be your best at sales, be your best at like editing, posting, and then be your best at being creative every single day for weeks and months and almost a year. It's impossible, like next to impossible, unless you're robotic or like Elon Musk, autistic. Now I have a fully fleshed out team. We have a sales team that have years of experience. We have marketing wizards that literally help push content further to anyone. We have creative directors who have personally grew hundreds of thousands of followers over many platforms. And we have top tier editors that engineer winning pieces of content. So again, delegating the work of, where did that just go off? Is that still on? I fuck knows. But delegating all of this work, like the sales, to people who have spent years in a sales team or have sales experience. Same with creative directors who personally have grew hundreds of thousands of followers for individuals. And then people who understand like the psychology and strategies of marketing, delegating all of that work to people who have years of experience in like this industry or in those separate skills and like qualifications, helps me not have to like start from zero, because in the beginning I had barely any sales training. I had a bit of marketing training, I had a bit of creative training, and then a bit of editing like training. And like I got really, really good at sales. Like I did hundreds of thousands of dollars by myself in sales. But again, like that's 18-hour days, right? It's fucking 18-hour days, and then doing marketing on the side, creative on the side, and then editing on the side. It was stupid and irresponsible. Like I mentioned, it's just stubborn, very, very stubborn. That can be very stubborn sometimes. But most of all, it's just irresponsible, right? I'm just killing myself to get to a level that having a team could like 10x what I was doing by myself. So now any creator who comes to us for help gets access to the best kind of help, delegating the tedious pieces of work to people who are actually strong in each area, playing to your strengths. So remember, delegation is a must.